Hello friends. I have been off of social media this past month. That is the month of July. And there's a lot of reasons for that. If you're a very online person, then you're probably well aware of them. I decided to write a whole blog post about it, which I'll link to in the description box. But it basically boils down to a lot of cuts and stings that adds up to one big ball of hurt. It has to do with comparison and discourse and manufactured desires, I suppose. And all of that balled up together, it sometimes gets a little much. And so I have taken a little bit of time off of social media before. This past November, I took about 10 days off, but I took the whole month off this time, just to see what I could do with myself when I wasn't like doom scrolling or falling down stupid rabbit holes. So I don't think this video needs more introduction than that, except to say I am aware it seems kind of counterintuitive to take a break from social media, and while doing so, you're filming content for social media. Yeah, I don't always have the best ideas, but hear me out. I need projects, okay? And so I thought, in addition to keeping me busy, this would also be something nice for me to sort of look back on and remember, hey, you don't have to be plugged in. You don't have to be connected all the time. You're not missing out on anything. You're actually getting stuff done. And I just wanted a record of the stuff, what I got done. Also, I should mention that I didn't even start thinking of doing this, coming up with a project for myself or what that project would even look like until we were a couple days already into the month. And so the footage in this video doesn't start until the 4th of July, which we will jump to now. It is July 4th, and I have been reading Stephen King, which tends to lead my mind toward melancholic musings and maudlin navel-gazing and morbid thinking. So I think we're going to put this down and take a look outside. It was just last month, or maybe the month before, that I shared our sunflowers, which at that time, they were just some stalks. They weren't very big. They definitely didn't have flowers. Now we've got some flowers, although they're not getting enough water and they're looking pretty peaked. And this one, oh my goodness, it's probably about a foot taller than Yvonne. And now we are going back inside because holy crap is it hot out here. So I am also in the middle of making a peanut butter pie, something I have not had since my grandmother made one like 30 years ago. But I thought it might be nice to bring for a little potluck dessert to my brother-in-law's this afternoon. And yes, I think this looks like a child decorated it, but that's part of the charm. So today is July 5th, and I do have a few projects lined up for myself, but unfortunately it is a work day, so that's happening too. But work is not so terrible anymore. I mean, it's always awful because it's work, but I got rid of that horrible desk phone that was the bane of my existence. But now I have a robot earpiece like that guy in Star Wars. Anyway, some projects for today. My friend Flannery recently took a trip to Italy and she brought me back so many perfume samples. So I'm going to be writing about one of them today, Tessuto, which smells like, it's sort of a cottony, linen-y floral. It's really nice. Somebody ordered the Lana Del Rey coloring book off of my Pango shop. This is so crappy. I mean, look at this. It's really bad. But in the description I said, it's so crappy, it's really bad, and somebody bought it anyway. And I'm including a little thank you note, and I pack it in these nice teal colored envelopes, so I'm going to do that. And today I am going to be writing out my scented note cards for my Patreon supporters. I don't know what the perfume is yet, but I'll have figured it out by the time I start writing this. So we are going to go to a few breweries with some friends today. They're going to be picking us up in a bit. So that means I have to wear something besides sweatpants. I'm wearing a little dress, and so there's my dress and there's my boots. I think it's pretty cute. Also, this is something I have discovered for myself. I have not worn a dress like this in a very long time without leggings under it. So this is what I'm wearing today. Cooling shorts. That was just a brief glimpse of my upper leg, so try not to be scandalized. But yeah, they are very nice. Now my wiggly bits don't flap together. It's amazing. Oh, let's take a look at the jewelry. I'm wearing a ring from Flannery Grace Good. I'm also wearing a necklace from Flannery, and this key here is from Under the Pyramids. It is later in the day, and I asked Yvonne to get me a plate of sours, and this is what he came back with. So we might be hanging out here for a while. Today is July 6th, and I think part of my mission today is to figure out a plan for these half dozen eggplants. I had about 6 or 7 last week, which I broiled and I made baba ganoush with, and about 2 weeks before I made a spinach and eggplant curry, but I'm running out of ideas. Wow, okay, so looks like I got no excuse. I can surely find something to do in at least this cookbook. Okay, so I have done some soul searching, and I have come to the conclusion I don't want to cook anything with eggplants today. So I found a thread on Reddit that said I can peel them, blanch them, flash freeze them, and freeze them. So that's what I'm gonna do. Instead, I have made us some breakfast. So I saw a Japanese lady on YouTube make this, and it's basically, I think it's meant to be somewhat cold. It's rice over which you pour some dashi, and you garnish it with boiled chicken. And that was boiled with ginger and green onion and salt and sugar. I got some rolled egg that's all sliced up, some shiitake mushrooms that were dried and rehydrated, and then boiled with soy sauce and sugar, and some chives. And so I think you're just meant to dish out some rice, pour some broth over it, and then garnish it. So this is a bit of a beige dish, but I think it'll be really nice. So I have finished up for the day. The eggplant is frozen. I made chicken broth. I made chicken salad. And we are going to eat that baba ganoush with some sag paneer, except it's feta. And that's not my recipe. It's bon appetit. I made some flatbread. And I've also got some old crab and chicken salad. And Yvonne is setting up Arkham Horror for us. Today is Sunday, July 7th, and I am at my desk knitting something. I have been working on socks for like the past, I don't know, year and a half, because my wrists have gotten really bad. I only knit like 2 or 3 rows once a week now. but my wrist has been feeling better, so I thought, why not work on something a little more challenging? This is some gorgeous yarn. I forget what it's called. Something MORBID, I think. The company is called Dye for Yarn, and their colorways are often just poetic and weird. I'm listening to a podcast. This is Paperback Perfumes, and the hostess is talking with Nuri McBride. I'm going to be on this podcast in, I don't know, at the end of next month, so I figured probably be good to get an idea of the format and the kind of stuff she talks about and all that sort of thing. All right, now I'm burning a candle. This is from Elizabeth W. It is a scent called Tay. I first discovered it on Makeup Alley in like 2005. It used to be called Sweet Tea. It is my hyperfixation scent right now. Today is July 11th and we are back at my desk. I think I skipped a couple days, but that's okay. The days kind of blend into one another and I'm doing some of the same things each day anyway. I wanted to share something new I got from my office. I might have shared this in my last video, but this has been so amazing. My desk is still kind of messy, but it was a lot worse because I kept all of these books stacked on my desk. Now I can tuck them all underneath. These are the books that I read throughout the day. I try to do this anyway, but I'm doing it a lot more now. When I otherwise might reach for my phone to scroll through Instagram or whatever, I grab a book. So let me share what I'm reading. Bird by Bird by Annie Lamott it's a really excellent book about writing, and not just writing. I think it's really good life advice. I'm also reading Scent and Subversion by Barbara Herman of Aris Parfum. She, there's a lot of vintage perfumes reviewed in here, so I just sort of read one entry per day. Then what else? Another thing, I sort of open it up wherever and I read one thing per day. It's The Sphinx and the Milky Way. This is a journal of observations on nature by artist Charles Birchfield. Here's the one I read today. It is good to be able to touch things and know that they are. It's also got some art in here as well. What else? There is this wonderful book of fermentation, fermented food, and it's just got the most wonderful illustrations in here. Let me see if I can find some. Well, you'll just have to trust me. They're in here. And then I've got a beautiful book of poetry. I read a couple poems a day. This is a book, I guess, of sort of occult writing techniques and some essays and poetry and different writings from various contributors. Then you can see that I'm really getting a lot out of this one. This is a guided journal for deep dreamers. And then this is the only one here that's not nonfiction. This is book 2 of My Favorite Thing is Monsters. It's an enormous graphic novel. And I've got a few down here that I haven't started yet. These are next in the queue. And I've got my knitting projects and some extra glasses here. It is July 12th and I am sneaking away in the middle of the day to soak some lima beans. I cannot tell you how nice and smooth these beans feel, like little weightless pebbles. Also, this is a zinnia from our garden. And this is a bowl that I think we're going to hang above the window there. Yeah, so hey, future Sarah checking in here. At some point in these snippets going forward, you're going to hear me casually referring to Yvonne's broken foot. And this is because Yvonne went and broke his damn foot. And that did make life a little bit harder this month. But these things happen and we got through it. We're getting through it. So let's just get back into it. So today is July 15th and I am halfway through my month of no social media. And I don't want to say it's 100% no social media because I have been checking in on various platforms like the messaging portions of them just to make sure I'm not missing any communication from people. But other than that, I have been social media free. So today I'm taking a break in the middle of my workday to write some perfume reviews. And today we are focusing on some not great ones. It is July 17th and I am between things at work. So I thought I might do something that I sometimes get asked for, which is a little bookshelf tour. And I think I should tell you that in walking over here, I knocked this sweet girl off of her chair. And in setting her upright, I cut myself on something coming from her back. I may have just activated a curse. So up here, we've got some art books. We've got some tinctures from Bane Folk. We've got some more art books. A very formative book. This is Why the Way I Am. I think some of you can relate to that. This is a book I think was referenced in Stephen King's The Dark Half. I think that's what a professor was referring to when they were talking about psychopomps. I'm not entirely sure though. So on this shelf, we've got horror. This is another formative book. I stole this from my mother. I don't think this is the copy though. I think I lost it in the meantime and I had to buy another copy. And Junji Ito, we've got lots of witchy stuff here. We've got our shelves of ghost stories. And these are mainly by, I think they're edited by a sister duo. It's Sean Manley and Gogo Lewis. Lots of Edward Gorey art on the covers. And then down here, so there's some miscellany. And this is a embroidery by, I think her name was My Gothic Granny. That quote is from the translation of some perfume copy. It's pretty ridiculous. And then over here on this bookshelf, which is directly behind my desk, we've got my creepy dolls. We have got a couple of antique books, as well as a copy of Rebecca that I had rebound. That's from Nate McCall of McCall and Company. Then down here we've got the Time Life collection. This is the Enchanted World collection, and of course the very best one is the Ghosts book. And we've got some Robert Aikman and some more ghost stories, some Simon Marsden photography books, some Gothic romance novels, and some of my books along with the foreign editions. So that is what we have got on the shelf. Today is July 20th, and it's a bit of a fraught day for a couple reasons. So I've got a lot of projects here. I am topping up my pickled onions. Now I'm going to throw this stuff in the broth bag. I have harvested some more peppers from our yard, so Yvonne's got some pickled peppers. Oh, and to get back as to why this is a fraught kind of day, it'll be a year ago today that my father died, and Yvonne and I are supposed to be on a plane to Denver right now, but that's not happening. So anyway, some other things that are happening is I'm in the midst of making us matcha lattes, and we are having some cookies, which I did not make from scratch. We really like these guys. I got some mail today from Rebecca Chaperone's Patreon. I got some really cool stickers and a little ongoing story. And finally, I got some perfume. So if you've read any of my top 10 lists over the past 10 years or so, you'll know that I mention Holy Terror a lot. It's a perfume oil from Arcana. But I just found out that she makes an EDP version of it, which maybe some of you don't know that either, so now you do. Good morning. It is July 21st, and I'm getting ready to go to the grocery store. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. I go to the grocery store same time your grandpa does. First thing they open on a Sunday. And there's a couple reasons for this. I don't really like shopping. I don't like being in places with a lot of people, and I don't like driving on the road when there's a lot of traffic. Now, luckily, this grocery store is like 5 minutes away. But to be honest, this is the most driving I have done in over 2 years. I can drive. I'm an okay driver. And when I lived in Daytona, I had no problems with it because Daytona is where I grew up. And then I moved to New Jersey and I never drove anywhere because I was just terrified. And then I came back to Daytona to take care of my mom and my grandparents, and that's when me and Yvonne got together. And I drove all over the place. It was fine. But Jacksonville, we've moved here, and it's just, it's different. It's bigger. The drivers are meaner. So I let Yvonne do the driving, but his foot is broken. He's not going anywhere. So it's all me now. And anyway, I'm going to the store. I'll check back in later. Well, that is done, and it is very satisfying how all those bags just slot into place, except for the milk. So we have gotten everything. Good morning. Today it is July 22nd. It is a Monday, and this is a bit of our morning routine. I am getting some coffee ready. Yvonne's still in bed. And the special thing about today is we're not working today. We were supposed to be in Denver this week, but because of Yvonne's broken foot, we didn't go, obviously. But we both took one day off to sort of, I don't want to say feel sorry for ourselves, because I don't want it to be a pitiful day, but to just sort of regroup and have a nice day. So I'm getting coffee ready. Normally we use, I think it's like Awesome Coffee Club. It's one of the Green Brothers ventures, but we've run out of that. So I'm using some beans that I picked up when I was in Philadelphia to visit my best good friend. And I've got a candle burning, which I don't typically do, but I'm just trying to make today a little bit special. This is actually my favorite candle in the world, and it's probably the most basic thing ever. Wow, what a mess. But you know, I have tried and purchased and bought over the years many expensive candles, and I always come back to Bath & Body Works Marshmallow Fireside. Good morning. Today is July 26th, and I have just gotten some breakfast ready. This is a brothy bok choy soup with some egg. We've got a beach mushroom salad and some marinated eggplant. I recently got an order from an online delivery service called WEE, W-E-E. I'll leave a link in the description box. It's basically Asian groceries ordered online. We typically go to a Korean grocery, but since Yvonne's not driving, I don't want to drive there. So I thought about, I figured there's gotta be somewhere online like this, and there is, and their stuff is amazing and fresh, and I over-ordered. So I've got like 5 or 6 bags of baby bok choy and all kinds of other stuff that I'm trying to use up. It is July 26th, and as you can see, I am making breakfast again. This morning, I am making 2-ingredient bagels. And it's not because I'm like one of these people who are worried about preservatives in food, or, you know, I'm trying to get like 30,000 grams of protein a day. The 2 ingredients in this are Greek yogurt and flour. So it's not either of those things. I just sometimes want bagels, and we don't have any in the house. And these are pretty easy. So now I have to let these guys cool a bit, and then I will be dipping them in some everything bagel seasoning. And you know, I'm realizing in this video, there's a lot of breakfasts, but this is the time in the morning where I would usually be drinking my coffee and scrolling on Instagram a lot. So we're doing something else instead. Okay, it looks like these guys are ready. You know, during the week, we do a lot of soups with vegetables and a tiny bit of protein and pickles and sometimes rice. And I do like those things. I mean, they take some time to make. Otherwise, you know, if I didn't like them, I wouldn't take that time to make them. But on the weekends, I kind of want something a little bit more decadent. And I realize yogurt bagels are not the height of opulence, but you know, it's something. Okay, so it is later this same day, and someone had recently asked for an updated jewelry tour. So I thought that's what we might do this afternoon, or if not a jewelry tour, at least look at some of my favorites recently. We've got a few talismans from Flannery Grace Good. This was a commission, and this is more of an all-time favorite, as well as this one right here. I think this was a commission as well. This is the Black Mirror necklace, and this is the All-Seeing Eye. I've got a bunch of rings that I got, just cheapy little things from Regal Rose. I don't know, they were showing up on my Instagram all the time. So I just got some just everyday type rings from them. This is something that I got last autumn from Parish Relics. I got this when The Art of Fantasy was released to sort of celebrate my new fantasy book. Here are some earrings that I wear all the time. These are glass earrings from Alexis Berger. And over here we've got some necklaces that I wear frequently. Most recently it's been this heart from Charm Co. And then this little baddie guy from Erica Wiener through Catbird. Over here we have some volcanic beads, and I think these were a gift from my Icelandic mother-in-law. We've got some key earrings from Blood Milk. This is just a random box of earrings that don't get worn all that often. And then these here, this is a trio of rings from Chikahisa Studio, and they're meant to be worn all together, but my fingers are very small, so I usually only wear two at once. Also over here we have this trumpet flower from Blood Milk. I think you can sort of hear there's a bell in there. And these here are probably my most frequently worn earrings. They're these hammered rose gold hoops that I forget who the designer is, but I got them from a little online shop called Esquilito. And I keep them in this little soapstone dish with a chunk of amber that I've had for like 30 years. Then we have got a pewter mug full of travel size perfumes. And this really pretty little necklace that Lacey from Seance Perfume sent me. And this necklace that I love. I love portals and windows within windows and doors within doors. This is from Ecclesia. And a lipstick that I never wear, but it is a beautiful oxblood color, and I just love what it's called. Good evening. It is July 29th and I am in my kitchen. The dishwasher is going, so you hear that in the background. And I have just cleaned up after dinner and the sink area is very messy. But I just got a silly little something from Amazon that I think will kind of fix that. Also, I believe the last time I checked in, I said the wrong date. So whatever I said, pretend I said something that chronologically made sense. It is so stupid how really small things can make you just insanely happy. So I just hung up my pair of dish gloves. Now they're not on the back of the sink anymore. That I am considering a little win for the day. It is July 30th today, and I am taking a little break in the middle of the workday to make us a cup of tea and to sneak in some reading. If I can finish this in the next 2 days, I will have finished my Goodread challenge like 5 months early. I told myself I would read 100 books this year, and I am at 99. So today we're having the Husk and Bee tea from Old Growth Alchemy. And this is maybe a little bit silly, but this is a little spoon that I just got from Etsy that makes me ridiculously happy. You know, it's kind of funny. Yvonne is the one in this relationship who has the sweet tooth. I don't like cakes or cookies or candy very much. Well, on a very limited basis. I really have to be in the mood for it. But that's his favorite kind of thing. But you know, he drinks his tea straight with nothing in it, whereas I like mine very, very sweet. So today we're going to try some graham cracker sugar in it. Well, hello there. It is the morning of July 31st. Today is technically the last day of my social media break. Although, full transparency, I did get back on yesterday, and I'll tell you why. Anyway, I'm going to be blogging about my reasons for doing this and what I got out of it. I mean, if it's not apparent, anyone who's on social media knows why. But I wanted to show you some of the progress on things I made this month or that I was working on. And let me stress, the goal of this break was not increased productivity. But of course, I mean, you're going to see that when you're not fucking around and wasting your time online. So this is a stole that I have been knitting this month. I actually started it on July 1st. I think it did show up in one of these videos, and it was about that big. So I've made some progress. Also, as you can see, I totally hit my reading goal. I read probably about 25 books this month. I think what I did more than anything else is anytime I was tempted, I wrote in my blog. So let me show you something. These are all the blog posts that I wrote this month. So as you can see, I was doing a lot of writing. Oh, but as to why I went back a little bit early, I have arbitrary but very rigid deadlines for myself, and every month I share a roundup of perfume reviews, and I like to share those before the end of the month. And as part of posting on my blog about that, I do like to share that all over social media. So I had to log on, had in quotes. I felt compelled to log on to share that, and then I just ended up staying. So it wasn't quite a month, but for all intents and purposes, it really was. And I think I will end this month of checking in on my day-to-day frivolities with my favorite coffee cup that my sister got me for Christmas one year. This was sort of an inside joke between the two of us, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you, Ivan does not approve of this. That's fine. He doesn't have to drink out of it. So yeah, I did sneak in just a little bit early, and within the first few minutes, I already felt terrible. It's like I spent like 5 or 10 minutes, sharing these things on my various platforms, and I could just feel my time slipping away from me. I mean, a big thing I'm experiencing in my late 40s is how much time do I really have left, and how do I want to spend that time? So we have wrapped up the month, and I did clock back in. It does kind of feel like a job sometimes, and I don't know why, but I sure treat it like one. I am back online, back on social media. I do notice that I'm not as constant with the refreshing and checking in to see who loves me or whatever, which sounds so pathetic, but I think at its heart, that's what it is. So yeah, I'm back online. I did learn a few things this month. Again, I wrote about it on my blog, which I'll link to in the description box, but I think it boils down to I had more time, of course, and life just felt infinitely less complicated. So I'll try to remember that going forward. And until then, see you later, weirdos.